Configure new Cisco ISE 2.4 as TACACS Plus server. Posted on September 14, 2023 by Dideo. In this article, I will guide you how to use the Cisco Identity Services Engine ISE 2.4 application to configure it to operate as a TACACS Plus server. Create Active Directory groups. To control user access levels when logging into network devices, we need to create some groups in Active Directory. In this article I will create two groups, ISE Network Infrastructure and ISE Network Operations. In my environment, infrastructure team manage network devices. The operations team mostly manages at the server application level but will still have the infra group's authority to be able to log into network devices and view configurations but not change them. The purpose is to infrastructure team have full access to the network and limits operations team to show commands. Check DNS configuration. For ISE to work properly with AD, you need to make sure the domain name and DNS server are set up. You can check these settings with console or SSH commands. Show run include name. Add Cisco ISE to AD domain. The next step we need to do is put ISE into Active Directory domain. This is what will allow ISE to match the AD groups you created earlier. 1. Follow the steps: administration, external identity sources, Active Directory, and click Add. Three. Click the button Submit. 4. Click Yes to join all the ISE node. Enter AD domains this after being notified. As in store credentials, you will use this step if you want to save your login information to join other nodes. 6. Click OK. You can see the joint point status changes now to operational and appears in the list of domain controllers. Add Active Directory groups to ISE. Now we will add the AD security group we created earlier in ISE. 1. In the same screen where you joined AD, click the item group. 2. Click Add Select Groups from Directory. 3. Find the groups you created and tick the previous boxes. In this example we already have ISE Network Infrastructure and ISE Network Operations, so I entered ISE *, enter the box name filter to find only groups starting with ISE. 4. Click OK. The next step is optional but I want to do it because it makes it easier to log into the device. You will be able to log into network devices without having to select an additional FQDN. 5. Also in this window you find Group Clicks Advanced Settings and select Search in All Whitelist Domains section. 6. Click Save. Create identity source sequence. The next step is to create one identity source sequence. This step will tell ISE which databases to search for a user account when authenticating to a device. 1. Follow the link Administration Identity Management Identity Source Sequences New. 2. Give it a name Identity Source Sequence. 3. Transfer domain yours and the group internal users luxurious selected from available. 4. Select the box Treat as if the user was not found. The reason I chose it Treat as if the user was not found is to allow the use of local accounts created on the ISE server when unable to link to AD. This saves you from having to use a local account on a network device in the absence of AD. It's not necessary, but it's another layer of protection. 5. Click Submit. Turn on TACACS. The first thing we need to do is make sure device admin services running. Follow these steps. 1. Follow the link Administration System Deployment. 2. Select the box next to it ISE Server and click Edit. 3. Select the cell Enable Device Admin Service. 4. Click Save. Add devices to Cisco ISE. Now that TACACS is enabled, we need to add some network devices. It depends on what device you want to add. You can add them by private IP, subnet, or install as a profile to match all devices. I will add each device. 1. Follow the link Work Centers Device Administration Network Resources Network Devices. Click Add. 2. Fill in the name and IP of the network device. Configure TACACS command sets. After we have added the network device, we also need to configure some command settings. Control command sets are commands for authenticated users to access network devices. Devices. I want to configure a set to allow grouping ISE network infrastructure to have full access to all commands in the device and other sets that only allow commands show for Team ISE Network Operations Group. 1. Enter Work Centers Device Administration Policy Elements Results TACACS command sets. Click Add. 2. Enter Permit All. Enter name and select Permit any command that is not listed below. Add nothing to the list below. By not adding anything to the list above, it basically means allowing all commands. This step to create command set for ISE network infrastructure will be done later. 3. Add another policy set and name it Show Only. Then click Add and choose Permit below Grant and enter Show asterisk in command. Now we have a total of 3 command sets. By default, deny all and created more Permit All, Show Only. Configure TACACS authentication policy. Now we need to let ISE know the identity source sequence to use and determine authentication policies to give AD groups command set rights. 1. Go to section Work Centers Device Administration Device Admin Policy Sets and select Enter TACACS Default Policy Set. '3. Open Authorization Policy and click the icon plus. 4. Name the policy, for example, Allow All Infrastructure Group. Select Command Sets Wall Permit All. Put Shell Profiles Wall Default Shell Profile. Click the icon plus. 5. Section Editor is opened. Click on Click to add an attribute box and select yourdomain.com external groups and then select ISE network infrastructure from the phone list on the right of equals. 6. Click Use. 7. Repeat steps 3 to 6 for operations group except change command set to show only and give it its own rule name. 8. Click Save. Configuring network devices for TACACS plus go to Cisco ISE. At this point, we have configured enough on ISE to operate as a basic TACACS plus server. Now we need to show the network device that the ISE server is used for authentication requests. On your network device, turn on SSH and configure AAA as referenced below. AAA new model. AAA group server TACACS plus default server name TAC_ISE. AAA authentication login default local group TACACS plus AAA authentication login console local AAA authentication enable default group TACACS plus enable AAA authorization config commands AAA authorization exec default local group TACACS plus AAA authorization commands 15 default local group TACACS plus AAA accounting exec default start stop group TACACS plus AAA accounting commands 1 default start stop group TACACS plus AAA accounting commands 15 default start stop group TACACS plus TACACS server TAC_ISE address IPv4 key meshard secret. Line child 0 privilege level 15 login authentication console line VTY 04 privilege level 15 transport input SSH line VTY 515 privilege level 15 transport input SSH. This configuration allows local authentication to fall back to TACACS plus if the entered credentials are not in the local database. It also requires local credentials at the console. Do this to allow the use of local or TACACS plus logins via SSH and only locally at the console. Check ISE logs for TACACS authentication results. If you go to Operations TACACS Live Logs, you can see your TACACS log events. In the case here, members of the infrastructure group have full access to the network device. You can see in the screenshot below that I was successfully authenticated and the authorization policy was granted allow all infrastructure. When you execute show run and configure commands, they all work normally. When deleting this account from ISE Network Infrastructure Group and add to Group ISE Network Operations in AD and ISE, the warning appears. When trying to test command #configure T, the result is command authorization failed. Finally, I deleted it operations group and do not rejoin any other group. ISE rejects the authentication request to the switch. This entry was posted in AI and IoT development.